welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Amber and I have been a yoga student for over 15 years. I'm currently working on my 500 hours of yoga teacher training. I was a student of yoga. I didn't give much thought about the origins of yoga or where it came from beyond the mat. Now, having going through yoga teacher training, it's totally different. I'm learning the origins of yoga, how it applies to the practice, and it's my responsibility to understand it so that I'm able to educate my students to continue to keep the tradition alive. In today's workshop, I'm going to be going through what the Yoga Sutras are and how they relate to your everyday life. When the word yoga is mentioned, most people immediately think of something physical or a stress reduction, practically just a relatively small part. The physical yoga or Hatha Yoga was primarily designed to facilitate the real practice of yoga, namely the understanding and complete mastery over the mind. The actual meaning of yoga is the science of the mind. Many of us want to understand our minds and how we can work with them. For people that are thoughtful, it might be even more immediate and vital to learn more about their mind. What is the mind? Does it determine our behavior and experiences? Or do we create and sustain this activity? What is consciousness? How can we turn within ourselves to study and understand, perhaps even control the mind? This is the subject matter of the ancient science of Raja Yoga. Traditionally, the word yoga itself refers to Raja Yoga, the mental science. With so many people awakening and expanding their conscious mind and more about mental science in general, it's natural that we turn to yoga. I mean, it happened to me. I didn't even know it. One day I'm sitting there reading The Purpose-Driven Life when I was about probably 28. And the next thing you know, by the age of 30, I'm taking my first yoga class. And now 15 years later, I am a yoga teacher. There are many different kinds of Western approaches to the study and the control of the mind, each one of them advancing in their different concepts and techniques. But compared to the ancient yogic science, it is the grandfather of all. Yogis have been probing the mysteries of consciousness and may find out through your own discovery. Some of these findings may apply to your own life. This is the book we are going to be talking about today. It's the primary text of Raja Yoga. It's called Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The word sutra means thread. Expand on this thread based on experience for the purpose of the student. There are almost 200 sutras and they're divided into 4 sections. These sutras are theories and explanations of the most advanced practice of samadhi or contemplation. Today I'm going to be covering Yoga Sutras 1 through 4. If you have your own book, you can follow along or take notes. Now let's get this party started. As a reminder, please, if you like this workshop today, give it a like, subscribe, or share with me that might find this useful. The Yoga Sutras are a practical textbook to guide you on your spiritual journey as we maneuver through this beautiful thing called life. It's meant to help guide you and you can apply whatever it is that you take from it. The sutras were composed by Patanjali himself. There isn't much known about him other than he was presumably Indian and he lived somewhere between the 2nd and the 4th century. Patanjali put together the first and foremost scripture of yoga and he explained it to his students. He jotted them down in shorthand using only a few words, called the sutras. The meaning of sutra literally is to thread. The sutras are combinations of different words threaded together. The meaning of sutra is the word thread. The sutras are combinations of words threaded together. And most of them aren't even well-formed sentences with subjects and predicates and so on. However, within the 200, or I should say almost 200 sutras, I think there's 196 of them, higher science of yoga can be delineated. Its aim is necessary practices, obstacles that you might meet in your life on your own journey, and how to remove them, as well as descriptions of the results that will be obtained from such practices. All right, so let's get started. Here's what the book looks like. There are a couple different versions. A great one to start with because it's super simplified. It's easy to break down, and I really like how it's explained. So coming in as I fold open the book, you come into it and it lists like what the number of the sutra is, the name for it, and then it breaks it down by each particular word, and then it gives a description. So what I would like to do is go through Yoga Sutras 1 through 4 today. The first one is called Hatha Yoga Usanam. Now, I'm still new at learning how to pronounce Sanskrit, so I apologize if I'm butchering these words. Atha means now, yoga means yoga, and anasadam, anasusantam means exposition or instruction. So together it's called now the exposition of yoga is being made. And the word asuna means exposition or instruction because it's not mere philosophy that Patanjali is about to expound, but rather direct instruction on how to practice yoga. Mere philosophy will not satisfy us. We cannot reach the goal by mere words alone. Without practicing, nothing can be achieved. And how I interpret this is to take action, not to wait for the perfect time of your life for something to happen. I think, have you ever heard of people like they're saying, oh, someday I'd like to do this, or, yeah, I'd like to do that, or you come in contact with a person, maybe someone you see once a year, and they're always talking about something that they want to do, but yet they're never taking real action on doing it. To relate this is I started getting this like voice in my head, like, you need to open your own business. You need to open your own business. Start thinking about doing something on your own. What are you going to do with for the rest of your life? And I kept listening to that, like that voice got stronger. And what I would start to do is just take little action steps. And one little action step actually resulted in a big action step, which led to something even bigger. And how it went is I was 17, 18 years into corporate thinking, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? So I took action and I went on a retreat. I knew that I needed to just get away from everything, take a time out, eat healthy, clear my mind, and figure out what the heck I was going to do with the rest of my life. Well, taking action resulted in me then taking even more action after I came back from this retreat to, look into a healthier lifestyle, look into juicing, take a look at the medications that I was on and, how can I get off these? What are some natural ways that I can start to live my life? How can I be more healthier? And taking action on those. And we all have those voices inside our head, and it's really number one, listening to it, and then number two, taking that next action step to make it happen. All right, the second of the Yoga Sutras is called Yoga's Citta Vritta Nirodha, which means yoga, and citta is of the mind stuff or mind field. Vritti is modifications, and nirodha is restraint. So when you put it all together, it says the restraint of the modification of the mind stuff is yoga. And what it really means is if you can control the rising of the mind into ripples, you will experience yoga. And this is all about restraining your mind and gaining control of your mind. In the book, it's broken down citta, which is the sum of the total of the mind. And within the citta are different levels. The basic mind is called akamara, or ego, which is I, that I feeling. This gives rise to the intellect faculty, which is called buddhi. Another stage is called manas, which means the desiring part of the mind which gets attracted to outside things through our senses. And how I can translate that into a real life scenario would be, let's just say you're sitting in your living room and someone is in your kitchen making some fresh bread. You all of a sudden start to smell that fresh bread and you're like, that smells really, really good. At that particular moment, the mana records are saying, I'm getting this fine smell from somewhere. And your buddhi discriminates, what is that smell? And decides, oh, it's a really nice smell. And then your akamara says, oh, I need to have that bread. So you're not able to actually control your mind until you eat that bread. And that really is what we're talking about here today, is our mind, the citta, calming that mind so you are just in a peaceful state. You're not thinking about bread. You're just able to ground yourself. This particular sutra also means to me that life is all about perception. And in this book, there is an example given about a prison inmate that, feels very imprisoned, he talks about it in here when there's a scenario about prison mates. And in this particular example, he gives a story about prisoners feeling imprisoned and anxiously awaiting the outside walls. Well, there's also guards that are in those same walls. Yeah, they get to go home at night, but they look at the prison as a place to work. It's a place that, they look at as a place to earn and work. It's their mental attitude. So instead of imprisonment, you think this is as far as, maybe a prisoner might think of the prison as a place for reformation, where it's an opportunity that has been given to change your attitude in life and reform and purify yourself. You will love it here until you feel purified. Even if they say your time is over, you can go. You might say, I'm still not purified. I want to be here for some more time. In fact, many prisoners continue to lead a yogic life even after they're in prison, and they were even thankful for their prison life. This means they took away the lessons that they were meant to learn. Sutra 1.3 is called Tada Drasta Zervapu Vastam. Tada means then, Drasta means the seer, Sva equals own, Rup is in itself or color, itself in nature, and Asthanam equals abides. So altogether, it's very complicated. It means then the seer self abides in its own nature. And what it says here is that you are the true seer. You are not the body nor the mind. You are the knower or the seer. You always see your mind and body acting in front of you. You know that the mind creates thoughts. It distinguishes and desires. The seer knows, but it is not involved in it. And how I interpret this sutra and what I really get out of it is taking control of your environment and really, really paying attention to the people you surround yourself with. So the social media that you consume, what you're watching on TV, where you're getting your news from, all of that affects how you see the world. And when you're constantly, maybe looking at like a particular news site, or you're watching the news, all they're reporting is all the bad stuff that's going on in the world. They don't report the good stories and the things that are happening that are taking us to, the next level. All we hear is negativity. For me in particular, what I did and how I can relate this is when I was on my own journey, I really started, taking a look at everything that I was doing in life. For instance, where I bank. Why do I bank here? These people don't treat me nice. They don't act happy to see me. They act fake. Why am I continuing to bank here? Maybe I need to switch and find something that more aligns with who I am and my values. If there's certain things like on social media that maybe particular trigger me, I will hide that person. I will mute them so I don't see the negativity. I really am like the keeper of my own bubble. And if someone or something is not vibing with me, or I feel like it's not in my highest good, I make sure that I set that boundary. The fourth Yoga Sutra, 4.1, is called Virti Sarumpyam Intarara. Virti means modification. Sarupyam assumes form, identification, and Ityara equals at other times. So as I put it all together, at other times the self appears to assume the forms of the mental modifications. You seem to have lost your original identity and have identified with many your thoughts and body. Suppose I ask you who you are. If you say, I am man, you have identified yourself with a masculine body. If you say, I am a professor, you are identifying with the ideas gathered in your brain. If you say, I'm a millionaire, you're identifying with your bank account. If a mother with child, a husband with a wife, I am tall, I am short, I am black or white, shows your identification with the shape and color of the body. But without any identifications, who are you? Have you ever thought about it? When you really understand that, you will see that we are all the same. How I interpret that is, pull back all the different labels of who you are. When you take away all of our labels, we're all the same. We're all just a soul. And I think that is really, really special. A personal story and how I can relate it to the sutra is my kids were in their teens and they moved out when they decided it was time for them to go live. When they left the house, that mom label was gone. Like, no longer are they in my house and are they here for me to cook their meals, to take care of them. And had to take a step back and say, who am I? What is my purpose? What is my soul purpose? Who needs me now? So here I am. I'm on a path of my own. I'm on my spiritual journey. I'm doing it. I'm loving it. I am a life learner. I want to thank you so much today for tuning into this workshop. Please stick with me. I will continue to roll out more of these Yoga Sutra workshops in the future. And I wish you a very blessed day. Namaste.